Hello, gamers. Welcome to episode 30, the big 3-0 for Gamers Galaxy. I'm your host, WT, and I also have with me my co-host, Rubick. And today, we have massive amounts of information to go over from the Immutable ecosystem, all the news of the recent events that have been going on, and we're going to dive into that. But first, how are you doing today, my friend Rubick?
Good, mate. It's Sunday morning here, and I'm had a night of looking after my son. So it's, I've had my coffee. I should be good.
Yeah, I know. I know that feeling. Your new baby daddy, and it can take a toll, and it's tough. I mean, you got a real job. We're covering tons and tons of news. I don't think people realize how many hours a week we put into it. We're not complaining, but this is what we're doing. We're trying to make this as palatable and quick and concise as possible so that you, the listener or viewers, can get this news in a summarized fashion so you can keep up with what is going on in the Immutable ecosystem, because it is a lot. It's making our head spin keeping up with this, and I'm going to talk about that later in my final thoughts. So jumping right into it, right off the bat, we're talking about projects that are building in Immutable. This one caught me by surprise. I'd never heard it before, and I'm very, very intrigued. It's called Landrocker. I was like, what is this? I got an awesome picture. If you're listening to audio, you can't see it. You have to check the video later, but it's a very awesome picture. And Immutable announced it, and yeah, Landrocker. I'm assuming it's a top-down driving mining game, so to speak. Is that what you kind of got from it, or?
I did a bit of research on this one. At the moment, it looks like it's a little mini game where where you it's like a DeFi farmer, like Alien Worlds, like it's real DeFi farmer style game where it's not too much gameplay. But I did a bit more digging, and they're building out a 3D world as well, and all this stuff as well. So it looks like they're building an actual game as well at the same time. But starting off with the DeFi farmer, where they pay out in Bitcoin. You can go find Bitcoin. You can, and it's kind of like the ZK EVMs enabling all types of games. This wouldn't have worked with the IMX, chain. So, this signature, they're pretty proud of being part of Immutable. Their homepage has got this massive big sign across every page saying we're part with Immutable. So, that they value Immutable name next to theirs. They also are having an ICO at the moment that's sold out three rounds, and they're in the middle of round 4 at the moment. So. Again, that's my only red flag, that they announce Immutable at the same time as they're doing an ICO, which is pretty common if you haven't noticed.
Yeah.
But the Immutable does their homework, as we say, and it makes sense for them to give themselves a boost during these sales that they're building on the number one chain, no matter what pumping Kagi thinks.
Yeah.
Pumping Kagi thinks it's still they're the number one chain, mate. So
yeah.
And
I like this. DeFi, it's just kind of boring. You put your money in and you watch your money grow, but like this, it actually puts some visual culture to it. You're literally mining in this game. It really gamifies it, and it's definitely piqued my interest. I want to learn more about it for sure.
Yeah, I'll wait for the actual game to come out, if that comes out, and then I'll look at it then. Personally, for me, it's not my style. I don't DeFi farm. I'm not interested in. Already do that with crypto unicorns, and I struggle to get myself to log onto it, to be honest with you, because it's just not really a game. So
yeah.
Next
up, we got Mhaya brands, and boy, as soon as my first thought when I looked at this was like, oh, it's Monopoly, but blockchain, and I was right. It is.
Is it just Monopoly?
Well, it looks like it. I mean, there's probably more to it. They've got a decent following, 87,000 followers, which, you know, I mean, obviously those could be bots and farmers and stuff like that, but I believe it's mobile also, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong on that. I'm trying to see. Mhaya is a city simulation management game based on the classic board game Monopoly with an addition of random and entertaining reward mechanics. Single player and multiplayer competitions. Obviously, they've got the board game, staking, seasons, and an NFT roll, whatever that is. Interesting concept. Obviously, they're piggybacking off of the game Monopoly. Definitely got my interest peaked in it, though.
It's so hard to keep up with everything now, isn't it? There's another board game as well that's Immutable that I've got interesting information for our community coming out. Working on a giveaway, and so yeah, this one's they got a lot of followers, 87,000 on Twitter, X, and you know they seem to have a good team. I know another one of our community members. Shout out to I won't say his name, but is using this game as a model for a financial blockchain product. So they're doing something right here. And yeah, so I'm gonna dig into a bit deeper later on when it's closer to being on Immutable and ready to go. So, but they've got a free mint at the moment, I believe, in coming up very shortly, or it's just gone by.
Oh,
on Polygon itself.
Really? I did not know that. Well, if you hear about it, let me know, because I did not hear about that one.
No, I just missed it actually. It's a couple of days ago from when time of recording. So.
Nope.
But yeah, it's I played Monopoly when I was a kid, through and through. I'm kind of monopolyed out, to be honest with you, mate. I played it I used to play it 4 or 5 times a day with my one of my siblings. So
same here. And yeah, we just talked to these guys on our own official Gamers Galaxie Spaces the other night, and we had a blast. We got to talk to a lot of the team. Fuse Wars, they're finally officially with Immutable. You've been calling it for months, and they're finally here. What'd you think of them last night? Or not last night, the other night.
Yeah, I think that building on Theta was obviously not what they thought it was going to be. The tools, that's what they said in the meeting, in the discussion, that the tools that Immutable is just a standout for them, and they can get it to market. So I thought Theta was like a chain that did like video rendering or video something, and so I thought it was going to be like a merge together, but it's just I believe a case of the game not working out so well there and going to come to Immutable and see how it goes there. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was, like it's there's just, it's only still in beta, and they just realize it's not going to have the right tools to launch to the way they want. So they've come over to Immutable. So it's one of those two. We'll see.
I'm going to either sound like an idiot or I'm going to sound on point here. I thought Theta was making a platform to compete with Twitch. So like when I heard that they were doing blockchain stuff, I was like, huh? I knew they had a token. They call it Theta Fuel, I think is what it was. And they had like a two-tiered token system for their streaming platform. And so like, last I heard, they weren't doing so hot, and so I don't know what's going on with it. But maybe I got the wrong Theta, but that's what I knew about it. So, whatever the case is, Fuse Wars, they're on Immutable. They don't have a huge following, but like the following they have, they're pretty rabid. I've been in their Discord quite a bit lately. They showed up in force to our spaces. We had a nice turnout. I think like 50 or 60 people showed up, so that was nice to see. And their art looks sick, man. The Dragon Prime, man, I'm in love with that thing. That thing just looks sick. I love their art style, and I think it's 3 years they've been producing this game or something like that. I hope they get it up and going to where more people can test. Maybe they'll sneak us in for some beta. That'd be nice. But they're very friendly. Great game lead, speaking and knowledgeable about his product. I could listen to him all day. He's just got one of those smooth voices. And yeah, I liked what I had to hear, and looking forward to actually getting my hands on it and trying it out.
Yeah, no, it's a shooter, so maybe that's why I don't want to sound like I'm a Debbie Downer when I do give my points. You know, everyone knows that listens to this regularly that I'm not a very good shooter. But one thing I did like is that he's from Unreal Tournament, and that's what's piqued my interest. Because why I liked Unreal Tournament over other shooters like Quake and COD and all that, where Unreal Tournament had a bit of a strategy to it. You could send a translocator disk, and then you could reappear on that disk. But if someone shot that disc and you appeared on it, you'd die, Or they had like a shock rifle. Every weapon had 2 modes that did 2 different things. So there was a sniper rifle that you had to put the crosshair over someone, but there was also a thing like a shock rifle that had 2 modes. It was a blue laser that was an instantaneous laser and a blue slow-moving bubble. So you shoot a bubble out into the world, and then if you'd laser that bubble, it would explode. So if someone was around the corner and you knew they were hiding there, you could send the bubble down towards the corner and then laser it when it got there and explode, and it would kill them from behind a corner and you can't even see them. So it had a real awesome, like, not just put your crosshair over someone and pull the trigger like most shooters. That's what really I loved about Unreal Tournament and got me, the only shooter that got me dedicated for about a year and a half where I was playing competitive. And if they put that into Fuse Wars and bring that kind of influence, I'll definitely get excited and play it in the PvP side of it more than the PvE, because it's just that I can use my strategy rather than my mouse skills.
Yeah. Yep. That was Fuse Wars. We had a good time the other night. And moving along, we talked about this ahead of time, before the announcement, and we didn't get our video out right away, the audio out right away. And then it was announced, but it is officially confirmed. Immutable has Pixelmon. This was a huge announcement. Yeah, Kevin came to Immutable. It was funny when Kevin came out. It was kind of like, what the heck? But now it's kind of become a staple of the Web3 gaming space, and Immutable landed them. Another major victory for Immutable.
Massive. Yeah, no, Pixelmon's, it's their sets, their NFTs. Like someone did, I saw a chart. Their NFTs, it was one of the collections that if you bought at the bottom, it's had the most gains out of everything in all the crypto, all tokens, all NFTs, everything. So I did not know that. This is bigger than, this is the degen side of crypto Twitter, and of gaming. So it looks like a great game as well, like a fun game for people that like those type of monster hunters and collector games, where it's going to bring together both the gamers that will enjoy playing the game and the collectors that want to get rich off crypto. So another one, the ZKVM, it's just been such a big win for Immutable, the ZKVM, even it's not even out properly yet. So yeah. You can see that. Imagine when it's out and people are seeing that a game gets 2.5 million players on it, like a GoG or GoG.
We often say another one with Immutable, but this one I actually posted another Mon.
I didn't see that. I missed that. Damn it.
Yep. Moving along. This one I had a hard time finding a ton of information in this one. It was Black Snow Battle for Earth. Only 3,000 followers. They have a little bit of a demo. I had to go outside of, I had to use another streamer's demo. It looks like you can download the game now possibly and try it out. But yeah, I'm gonna give this guy credit. Gatsky, I'm using his. So if you see this, thank you, brother. I did hit the like button, and I'm gonna hit the subscribe to help you out. If anybody sees him, give him a like and subscribe for helping us out. But he had some pictures up and stuff, so I'm using that right now. If you're on the video version, if you're on the audio version, you obviously can't see this. But yeah, I don't know what to really make of this game. Really, I think it's kind of like I don't know if it's a third-person shooter or what exactly. I had a hard time finding information on this one. Do you know anything at all?
It's a mobile game. and real world, like Pokemon Go, real world, geo world exploration with AR experience. Yeah, and you said only 3,000 followers. I did want to say that Fuse Wars only doesn't even have 2,000, and they had that huge strong community turn up to our spaces, and it was over 100 that watched it in the end. So. Some of those are ours, but that's still, going back to Fuse Wars, they've got a really strong community. Hopefully, Immutable can help strengthen that for them, and the Theta Fiends still are happy to play Fuse Wars on Immutable if it doesn't go to Theta in the end. Back to this game, Battle for Earth. That game hasn't been announced by Immutable yet, officially on Twitter, but it has been announced officially on somewhere else.
Oh,
that's all I'm going to say.
Okay,
yeah.
My apologies. Yeah. I thought that they had been announced, so that's my bad. I thought it was a third-person shooter because yes, I did see the mobile part, but like the way I was looking at it. So what is that? Is that a tank on the mobile device, or I'm trying to see it here? You can't see it, obviously. Sorry about that. Well, it's got like a mech. I see a mech, so I figured that's how it was the shooter.
I think you are a mech walking around with your phone and you shoot things at the AR, so on your phone you'll see the camera of the world you're in, and then they'll superimpose a enemy in there, an alien, and you're a mech and you shoot them, and then you have it's a story based and collector kind of game through cinematic style. I don't even know, man. There's not a lot of information yet, but it's a game coming to Immutable, another one, and we'll see. When it launches, when we get more information, I think you can play it now actually.
Yeah, I seen something you can download the test fly app or something like that. I forget what they call it, but I seen that you were able to do that. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. I'll check it out and get a little bit more information on it. It's coming down the road when they get a little bit closer to hopefully officially coming to Immutable. And another one that, man, these two I really struggled. 6,100 followers. Hakoiri? Is that how you pronounce it?
Hakoiri? I have no idea, man. It's Oiri is not really an English way of spelling things, is it?
Right. I'm from the West, so I'm a little bit ignorant to begin with, and I'm trying to pronounce these things. And oops, I went backwards there. So I went to their main website. I was checking it out. The website's very cool. I haven't seen it before like this, but you can click on your options where you want to go. Again, if you're on the audio, you can't see this, but a video, you're seeing what I'm doing right now. The best thing I could come up with was basically a trailer teaser. It looks very anime-ish, Japan style cartoon graphics for the most part. I don't know where it's going or what they plan on doing with it, but what do you know about this so far?
This is a game I come across like 3 months ago. It's on our like rumored get list, and so I've broke down the Immutable games now that I've tracked to being confirmed and rumored, and so it was on rumored, and I removed it because in their Discord they did a mint on Solana, and I'm like, whatever. When I find out they're officially on Immutable, I will put them back. But then they've like got responded from Immutable that they're building on Immutable. So it wasn't a confirmation from Immutable, but it was like, well, we'll help you if you want to build on us, kind of thing, because Immutable replied. So it doesn't seem like an official partnership with them. Maybe I'm wrong. They've been very vague about the partnership, but it looks like a samurai game. I don't know much about the game itself, but the cinematics that they've got are like pretty cool. They built in Unreal Engine probably, and pretty crisp, but the game looks like a cartoony style game. So from the screenshot that they've recently put up about an hour ago. It'd be interesting to see what comes out of this. If it's a samurai game in that Unreal Engine 5, the graphics they've got, I'll be more interested in the cartoon style. That's for sure.
Right, so that's one thing that throws me off. I seen the animations, the gameplay on the X page, but then I went to their website and they had these computer animations, and they even had a real dialed down animation to where it was almost like a Mario style game where you're running across horizontal landscapes with a ninja. So like I was like, what game is this? Which one are you doing? Or maybe they're doing them all. I don't know. It was a little confusing for me to try to get a good grasp of what this is exactly. But now that you say it's a rumor, I won't worry about it too much about it. So yeah.
Well, Immutable responded to them saying they're building on Immutable. So that was recently. Like that's why I put it on this list.
Okay.
Because of that. They have been in our sorting. They were listed in the sorting, the top 100 games sort of thing list. And then I took them off, and then I've added back again. So I just be careful that web page come up with a a warning as well. So just stay away from this one until we give you more information, everyone.
Great.
Obviously, do it if you're smart with computers. Do what you want to do, but and I don't know for sure, but like there's just been a bit of a mixed signal in messaging. But they've always came back to say they're building on Immutable. Maybe their PvP collection was on Solana. Once they did that, I was like, I'm not interested because I'm a gamer. But that was probably smart in hindsight for them to do that. There's lots of people that think they can get rich off pictures of JPEGs on Solana, so that's where I'd be minting one of them as well.
Great. Now my computer's probably got a virus. I can't wait to deal with that. No, I'm just joking. I hope it's not. I didn't download anything. I just played a video, so we'll see. If I go off the grid and you can't get a hold of me, this game took me out. So next up, we got Call of the Void Heartliners. This is it's a Web3 mobile game. You can download it now. 13,000 followers. There was something about this I looked at earlier. Okay, you can get it on the App Store with Apple or Google. And this was the what the heck? Top-down. What'd they call it? Top-down shooter ARPG roguelike game with auto aim precision. I like that it's on mobile. It's it don't have the best graphics, but it looks interesting. There's this huge horde coming after you. That I like those style of games. It's fun to play on the fly. When you get some downtime here and there. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. Actually, that one with a billion zombies coming at you, the green things.
Yeah,
looks like a bit of fun.
Yeah,
yeah.
A little mindless fun. Nothing wrong with that. I like that style.
Yeah, they were pretty excited about being on Immutable as well. I followed the founder. He's a big supporter of Immutable. So, welcome to the home of Web3 gaming, Call of the Void Heartliners. It's out now, so you can play it on I think Polygon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to download that and check it out. There's a lot of mobile games. I need to make a list. I need to get a list and just start trying them out when I get time. But unfortunately, time is my enemy. And
Passport. That's why they've made the decision. Passport, the seamless logon, and marketplace integration. So
that seems to be a reoccurring theme. Weird. That's really weird with the company that's going bankrupt. But we'll talk about that later. Boy, how do you pronounce this one? Kokodi, right?
Kokodi, yeah.
Kokodi, yeah. Third-person fantasy extractions shooter. This reminded me of a much dialed down version of Overwatch, so to speak. The graphics are nowhere near as good as Overwatch, but I was watching some of the shooting animations and stuff, and you're fighting against other people, it looks like to me. And what do you know about this, Rubick?
Their announcement of joining Immutable has been deleted. Just finding out right now. Interesting.
Their X says on Immutable.
Yeah, but the announcement, it announced that Immutable didn't respond, and it was a pretty cool little graphic, but it mentioned that they got 100,000 IMX tokens as a grant, and I don't think Immutable likes that very much. You don't see anyone do that, so maybe that's why they took that down, but maybe whatever. I don't know. Maybe they've jumped the gun and haven't got that grant yet, or something's changed. Then Immutable didn't announce it and didn't respond to them. So
Interesting.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah.
Oh, we got some live drama going on.
We probably wouldn't have put it in if we knew that in the middle of the show that when we're looking for the announcement. Did you see the announcement? Is it still? Did you have it up still?
No, I had their main X page, and then I see the Immutable on their main X page, and then I was getting ready to play a trailer of what they had, just so viewers can see what they're doing. But that's all I had. I didn't go and look specifically because I just was going off that link that you gave me earlier, and yeah, I didn't see that. So
I'll give you some insights to the audience.
Mm-hmm.
I was working on tokenomics for another game. I got 3/4 way through it and just realized that I don't have the time to do it. I was doing it like pretty much I just don't have time with the baby. It's a full-time job writing a tokenomics white paper. I can tell you that right now. It's a lot of work. I didn't think it'd be as much as it was, and you've got to think through so many things and go down every model, make sure that what you're modeling is going to be sustainable, all that kind of stuff. There's so much math to it, and I just got to the point where I'd need to quit my job to do it properly, so I ended up stopping, and I gave them all my resources. But one of the things I found out through doing that is that how particular Immutable is on what you can say in a message about partnership. So I wrote a partnership announcement for them, and Immutable come back and knocked it back, and it wasn't very much. It wasn't very different to theirs. It's just that you will now never be able to unsee it. Every single Immutable announcement is very similar. They don't promise anything. It's very, very legal, like protecting themselves legally.
Yeah.
So
I believe it.
And that announcement sounds like to me wasn't approved yet to be that wording, and they would have got told to take that down and we'll rewrite a new one. And you watch, generic message number 2 will come out in the next couple of days because it makes sense. While in America there's no regulations and there's uncertainty, and we're going to talk about that later on. You got to be careful. You look at the SEC is going after anyone that says anything wrong. That like the Project Kaizen on Immutable got fined $6 million plus, and had to offer refunds to everyone. And luckily, he had the money to cover it. So,
yeah. There's the way they handle themselves is different from most. I won't say all, but most companies right now in the gaming space, and we'll talk more about that later when we talk about the video that Robbie was on.
Yeah, the video of this game looks awesome. The very unique art. So it looks like Unreal, might be Unity, might be a really high level Unity developers, but it could be Unreal. But either way, it doesn't feel like a Unity or an Unreal engine. Maybe it's not one of them engines, but it's very. Have you seen the graphic of the gameplay on the game? Yeah,
I'm looking at it. Like the surrounding area and stuff, very top notch. And when I said it's not anywhere near the Overwatch, I meant the actual characters themselves. But yeah, I was checking out the trailer that they have for it.
It's an extraction shooter, yeah. So, the models are a bit like Vendetta games as a style. Like the background looks amazing, and the models could do with a bit of work, but that can be fixed. But yeah, very cute graphics. I like it. Different feel to it than everything else. Ragdoll kind of deaths modeling, which looks pretty cool on the characters. Mm-hmm. Yeah, hopefully that wasn't a mistake, and that they are approved and are coming. But I saw that message and went, "Ooh, I don't think that's going to stay up." I felt that. Did I screenshot it? I should have screenshot. I think I screenshotted it. I screenshotted it.
Yeah, it's the theme is it's a world without adults. So you got a bunch of kids running around trying to kill each other. All right.
Lord of
the Flies.
Pumping Kagi style.
Yeah. That's a comment. That's an inside joke there, everybody. So anybody listens, like, what are they talking about? So, yep. Next up. We're at that part. Okay, I jumped the gun there. All right, let me go back to our screen. Okay. Yeah, so we're at the our middle point here of the show, and this is where we talk about what pisses us off. I'll start off this week. Is that okay?
You go for it.
All right. What pisses me off this week? I really didn't have anything, and then a couple hours ago I was inspired. And the print. You ever hear about the Prince of Nigeria scams? You know what those are?
Yeah, I've got plenty of email from people telling me I'm a relation to a prince, or a prince want to leave me all this money.
Yeah. Yeah. This was just from 2020, but 2.5 billion was lost over a decade over Nigerian Princes being in trouble, and they need your help. You know? And it just got me thinking, there's a lot of that still going on. There might not be Nigerian Princes. It's just a different flavor of people pumping and dumping, or as I like to coin now, pumping caggy. And it never stops. It never stops. These scammers, these snake oil salesmen, these fake Nigerian princes that should be wealthy, but they're not enough to get out of trouble, and they somehow need your grandma's help. And that's what pisses me off this week.
What pisses me off this week?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a Jonah Blake, real Jonah Blake. He's pissed me off this week. You know, he often writes insulting posts regularly. You know, he wrote a post the other day saying, should I be genuine or should I take the 10,000 followers? You know, like, to even have to ask that question to me, you've lost any respect I could have had for you already. You know, like, he was genuine. He was saying, I'd prefer to have 10,000 followers than be honest. So, you know, and then he comes out with all these posts attacking everyone. So Illuvium announces Q2 release. Yeah, that's everyone who doesn't know that. Illuvium Overworld will go into open beta in Q2, so less than 4 months away from the end, from it being out, where you'll be able to catch Illuvials in the wild. And they showcased the Illuvials actually being in the game. Now, everyone said that there's a soullessness to Illuvium, and I've kind of felt that to a degree, but you know, I had my theory. I posted that it might be that there's no habitats in the place. It's just all landscape everywhere. You know, there's no humans being in this land, so obviously there's no cities or ruins. But they could have like burrows and, you know, little nests and things to make it feel like it's lived in. And that's I hope they add that to it to make. I think that would solve the soullessness for me. But these guys, there's another guy called Hantao that I just can't stand as well. He's like a massive Ronin fanboy, you know, and talks about Ronin being the greatest game, Ronin being the greatest chain all the time, and the game Axie Infinity is amazing, all this stuff, you know, the typical one of those people. And I got 10 points from it. They posted a little clip discussing the Q2 announcement, and of it, there was 10 points I took away from it that they made in that minute video, a minute and a half.
Mm-hmm.
They compared it to Power World in a condescending tone from the start. Jonah talked about marketers stepping back, who actually amicably left. So they kind of go. So the next point after saying that, the condescending voice, he said, and someone else said, "Oh, didn't the marketer leave?" And then Jonah, without even understanding, corrected him and said, "No, that was Grant, who had an alcohol issue." So, but in actual fact, both are true. So he doesn't even actually fully know what's going on in the space, because the marketer, Andrew Waugh, left to start his own business, and he's still involved with them and doing stuff for them. And Grant we all know, come out and was honest and said he had an alcohol issue and was forced out to either fix up the issue or get out. And obviously got to the point where the addiction got to him, and he was forced out. And it was an amicable leave as well, and he got the place to a point that was handover without any impact. So there's no real big issues about these things. And they would come out with it honestly, but still the first 3 points, there've been 3 negative things. And then Hantao said he's glad it's finally launching, which it's only been developing for 3 years. So even Powerwall took 3 years to build. So
right,
it's not that long in development for a AAA game. Movement looks nice, graphic looks nice. So Jonah said one nice thing at 0.5. Looks very barren and very boring was the very next point straight after that. So that's 0.6. 0.7, the overworld looks way better than their auto chess. Hantao, Jonah agreed, and said it's very boring. 0.8, the fact that the auto chess is intertwined with the overworld is a problem from Hantao. So he said it's very cool mechanics in the overworld, but it would be better if it was a battle royale. It'd be pretty fun. But having to play auto chess to capture the creatures is a boring experience. So In that, it's literally 7 or 8 negative points to 2 positive points. Talking about the game that just highlighted that you no longer shoot wisps. You're going to be shooting real alluvials in the overworld, which is super exciting. It really changes the game. And the guy's calling auto chess boring, and he plays Axie Infinity.
Right.
If anyone's played that game, man, I nicknamed it Axie Infuriating. It is the most boring game I've ever played in my life. It is so frigging boring. So this guy can come and call auto chess boring, which is I'm not into it. I don't like auto chess games, but you don't need to say that. You can they just do this. He does this all the time. He did it to Polygon over and over and over again, and then Polygon, this is Jonah, paid him to launch his NFTs on Polygon. So now you've never heard another bad word about Polygon since. But this is what pisses me off. These influencers that have this style of insulting everyone and get paid to stop. That's what these guys do. It's absolutely disgusting. And I've got no respect for them whatsoever.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a real good one, and I agree with a lot of those points. They're just fighting over scraps, man. They're fighting over scraps, and we've said this time and time again about the big picture of things in this space. Robbie just said it again recently. Because he's been asked a couple times recently, and who's your biggest competitor? And he won't name anybody in this space because he's not focused on that, and these guys are. They're all about focused on these 100,000, 150,000 people, if there's even that many in this space. And Robbie's answer is our biggest competitor is the 3 billion plus gamers in the Web 2 space. That's our biggest competitor. And it's just a completely different mindset. And you got these guys here that are obviously paid to shill for their networks, their games. And yeah, you're gonna call Illuvium Auto Chess boring when probably, let's be real, 98% of all the games in Web3 are probably in the same category or worse. So that's a good call on your part.
The auto chess isn't that boring. There's a lot of strategy to it.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I tried it out. I suck. I absolutely suck at it, but I enjoyed it, and I thought it was good for what it was.
Yeah, I've got to learn it. I'm waiting for the tutorial and for it actually have real meaning. I don't play games for money, so. But the other point is the delusions of grandeur is what I take away from Jonah Blake. When you hear him speak, he talks like he is the self-confessed, self-determined leader of Web3 gaming, and you can tell by the picture of his profile versus the real picture of him. Delusions. That's all I'm going to say. He's just delusional.
I think I've heard him speak once on Between Two Layers, and I was really focusing on what him and the other guy were saying, and I can't remember exactly what. Bob, maybe I'll have to give him 5 more minutes and see what you're talking about. But you're probably right. You're pretty good at that stuff, so I'll take your word for it. But, that was what really agitates us this week. Man, you really crushed that one. I like that one a lot. We're going to talk about some positive news here. Get the muck off us, and let me get my screen up here. And wow, I am all over the place. Where'd it go? Oh, Shardbound. Jonah probably thinks this game is boring too, and this team is absolutely amazing, and they are releasing the playtest. I'm pretty sure you got a spot. I know I got a spot. I can't wait to play it, see all the new changes, and see what they're doing. This team, I know they excite you. This team really excites me. What are you looking forward to with this coming up?
Just the extremely capable team building this. TCGs are not my thing, but strategy is, which is weird. The TCGs are strategy. But I just think there's a little bit of linear feeling to TCGs. So when you put a TCG on a hex-based board, I get excited. So I don't know what it is. I just love the feeling of controlling units over a hex. I think there should be more games like that. They're very hard to design because people find a one way to win all the time. It's very hard to build the trilemma or the triangular style. And it gets kind of hard to make it unique and interesting all the time. So they're not easy games to make, the hex-based games. But that's what these guys, from playing it already, and yes, I am playtester, I got given one of the first ones because I wrote a lot of feedback for them, and they went, "Thank you so much for all that feedback." And it was a bit of criticism and a lot of really good things as well. Not like GOG where I ripped them apart. So they like me because I helped them.
Deservedly.
The reason for the the play test is what it's for. They're not doing it to go, hey guys, this is fun. Play our game. It's the, hey guys, play it. Tell us what's good and what's bad, and we'll fix it. For when we release. That's the whole idea of it. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this playtest. There's 2,000 this time. There's only 1,000 or 500 last time.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it will be less easy to get a game a lot often. I had to go into the Discord and say who wants a game. I'm queuing now. Last time,
right
in Australian time, I played like the same 3 people, 5 because Australia game time is a bit out. Not the same. You guys play when I'm like 4 in the morning. So
yeah.
But Shardbound's in our top 10. All of our gamers Galaxie crews top 10. It's got 80,000. Put it this way, it's got 90,000 registered players, and Metalcore has only got 40,000. That's how big this game's going to be.
Yeah. This is one of our top picks. I don't know if I would be as high on this if it wasn't for the team, but knowing where they've come from and what they're planning on doing, that's really shifted me. And I played some last time. I plan on playing a whole lot more, and I want to get good at this game. This is the kind of game that it's not fast paced enough to where if I can just learn the strategy, I know I can get good at it. So this is one that I'm looking forward to. So you're gonna have to carry me on this one. I know of the Type 1 prover. I'm still a little fuzzy on the details. Immutable came out and basically said that the Type 1 prover is released by Polygon, and they'll be implementing it. What's the TLDR on this with this one, Rubick?
Okay, so Type 1 prover. So the prover is the thing that makes a transaction legit. It's safe to say that this transaction is accurate. So it's the kind of like the security aspect of slaving to the blockchain. In the prover, there's 4 types. From Vitalik put the 4 types down. And Type 1 prover is the holy grail. It is the equivalent, the thing we've been talking about, Ethereum equivalency. So this is the thing Immutable needs to be able to copy paste code and work on Immutable.
Okay.
At the moment, we've got a Cosmos proof of stake bridge doing everything. So I didn't know this, but Aaron Bearschmidt and I had a conversation. He chose Zai recently for Crypto Unicorns. He's the CEO. I've got a good relationship with him.
Okay.
And he said to me about a month ago, Immutable doesn't even have a proper prover yet. There's just proof of stake. But he didn't say yet. He said they don't even have it, like as if that's it. And I said, mate, if that's the truth, then obviously it's because ZK has been built. You of everyone who's building of a game should know that code doesn't instantly appear. You have to actually spend time building it.
Mm-hmm.
And he agreed with me. So this is a really important point. I don't think this probably should be a half an hour piece from us, a dedicated slot. And so next podcast, we're going to have Tal from Immutable employee who does the customer onboarding from a technical point of view after the sales team.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not on the prover team, but he's going to be able to tell us a little bit more deeper than what I know. And I'll be really looking so I won't go into too much detail on it today, but ultimately it's the thing that we need to implement over the next 6 months. It's complicated. It's very, very, high quality code. AI wouldn't be able to write it, for example. It's the big brains have built this kind of thing in the world. So, and it's the first one. There's another one that's live, and now that Polygon has it, it's live on Polygon. They're the first to have it actually live in a production environment, I believe.
Yeah, it's just another example of Immutable being the spearheading the front on the technology and to make this stuff just work, and they're pushing the boundaries so that it can be seamless and get to that ultimate goal of breaking into the Web 2 gaming market share. And this is, while it's a boring piece, it's a very, very important piece. And
it's the most important.
Yeah,
most important.
Exactly.
And that's the reason why they haven't implemented the Type 3 prover that Polygon has already in live, is because it spent all this time putting it in, You know, it's not easy tack. It'd be setting it up, and then you have to change everything for the type 1. So they do the quick and nasty proof of stake that anyone can do just to get the chain, get the contracts settling properly and the transaction settling properly on the ZK EVM, and they can just transfer over seamlessly to the prover without us probably hardly any downtime at all. And they've probably already been writing the code for the prover type 1 because you know Polygon are working very closely with Immutable, so they knew it's coming very soon. So
awesome. Next up, we've got Guild of Guardians. Big announcement, the migration. We've talked about this in the past. It's coming up soon. So the big news is get your passport hooked up to your wallet with your GOG assets. You want to get this done so that you can migrate over to ZK EVM. I've got it up on the screen. Yeah. If you're listening audio, you obviously can't see it. But yeah, there's really not much to it. Get a passport, hook it up to your wallet. I don't think it's that hard. I have not done mine yet, but I got to do it soon. And they want you to get it done no later than 10 a.m. AEDT on March the 4th. So they've been giving out the word. If you're hearing this, don't sleep on this.
That's only 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
2 weeks, a couple of days. Yeah, I already had my... I've got one of my wallets. My wife has got a wallet with a heap of NFTs in it, GoG NFTs and tokens, and her brother's got one with about 50 tokens, GoG tokens in it as well, and NFTs, sorry. So we've got to set them two up, but I've done mine, which is the bulk, and all the tokens. It's a shame that they didn't work out a thing to get the tokens over as well. I wish they'd do that. That's going to be a ball ache, man.
Yeah, there's another thing. If you hold $50 worth of GOG tokens on Immutable X on the date, it's already been done, the snapshot, you're going to be given a reward of $50 in GOG tokens per wallet. So that's interesting.
That's to pay for the transfer, is it?
Yeah. I would assume so, yeah. That's what I would assume.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's financially, they probably weren't allowed to do what my suggestion was. Not financial, legally. Send it to an address, or everyone send their tokens to address, and then they do it on transfer over themselves, and then they allocate out on ZK EVM. But that would probably incur like transactions, like in Australia, especially. Well, it's not Australian. It's Australian. In Australia, if you do any transaction at all, you have to notify the government that you've done it, and then they'll do a calculation on how much tax. And you can't claim losses as well on it. It's just ridiculous in Australia.
And while I know that they are very respectful of their own wallets and funds, they've really got to be even more now because according to some crazy people on X today, they're broke. So they really got to watch their funds now. So anyway, yeah.
That's talking about delusions.
Yeah, I know.
That's the biggest delusion.
We're gonna talk more about that later. Everyone's wondering what these inside jokes are that I'm dropping, but if you haven't seen it, I'll explain it a little bit here. But our newest member to the Gamer Galaxie's crew, Tonin, he does these awesome pieces. I absolutely I've known him for 3 years or whatever now, and I just love these pieces. He just makes my life easier. I did listen to most of the town hall. I was in the middle of lots of things. If you go to his X post, it's on there. You can look at it. It's very, very well done as usual. Did you get a chance to listen to the AMA, Rubick?
Yeah, I was listening to it live.
I thought I seen you in there. Yeah, that's right. Chris,
it was a good one, actually.
Spinning his magic like he normally does. Maybe that's why he was with Magic the Gathering. I don't know. I just made that up. But anyway, yeah, he's a great speaker. He does a great job. He makes you feel nice and calm. But the highlights, the retention was a bit down to where they wanted it. All the retention seemed to be higher on iOS versus Android. But they were looking for 40% on day 1. They only got 31.5. Day 7, they wanted 20%. They only got just under 15. And they think a lot of it had to do with that the intros to the game were too long. And so they're working to adjust that. They really feel like the first part of the game of getting you into it is what's turning some people off. So they're going to adjust that accordingly to get people into the game faster and to get them into more meaningful group partnerships, so to speak, group collabs of your heroes. I know Chris had talked about that with us, so that's the retention factor. We kind of knew that, but they broke it down in a nice little chart for us. key improvements, passport, reconnect, and I don't know what FTUE and narrative is. I'm assuming that's some of the storyline at the beginning he was talking about, but the one that I liked, that I know is hard, but they're looking at the balance of bosses and the endless mode. We've heard countless complaints about quality of life, and it's playing too long. They get it, they know it, so I'm not really too worried about that. Anything on retention for you there, Rubick?
Yeah, just what come out of it. We already knew this from our interview, but Chris has really got his head switched on, hasn't he? Knows what's going on. I've got absolutely no doubt this game's going to have millions of players. No doubt about it.
Yeah,
and that just reaffirmed that he focused on the stuff that really mattered this time. I think maybe he didn't mention anything about the thing we were worried about with him. With worrying about the toxic people, he didn't mention that at all. That's one thing I took away.
That's good.
But hopefully that's that's good. Like he's maybe knows that he can't get rid of all those now, and that he can just focus on just the stuff and reward the people that really back him in the game, by spending the time talking about the stuff we care about. That's the game, which is, and the stuff like they just went into so much detail about what they're doing. Like it's Web3, you get to find out the development process. I love that as a developer. So
yeah, his transparency is off the charts. It's night and day difference from the last regime. I absolutely love it, and I'm glad he's not talking about it. So hopefully he's getting more comfortable and he's settling in and focusing on the game and not worrying about all the naysayers. So good on him. This was huge in my opinion. Pets, it's a work in progress, obviously, but the short answer here is yes, we are looking at having the pets provided different incentives. These are in flux, and we as we hone in the balance of the primary loop. So what the pets did before does not match up with new playstyle, so they're going to have to adjust it and balance that out, and that is kind of a big deal because a lot of people were hyped on pets, myself included. So workers are going to be aiding in crafting. You can read it here if you're watching this on the video. Scouts are going to be aiding in story dungeons to increase XP, gold, dungeon coin gains, and hunters are going to be aiding in endless dungeon points, loot, and curse odds, which is interesting. The curses, we know about that a little bit. To recap on the workers, I said aiding crafting, increasing odds of crafting higher rarity gear, providing additional crafting components. So that's not final. This is just some things they're talking about. It's kind of a big deal. What's your thoughts on that, Rubick?
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't really listening to the details. I just trust him, mate. I just trust him to do what he wants to do, and he'll do the best, that he can with the information he's got and the commitments he has to get to by. I just can't wait. Australia was next. That's the thing I took away. Australia's next
for playtest.
So they're opening up to Australia next. So before the major release. So I'll be able to play it without a VPN, which I didn't play it because I just couldn't be bothered setting up a VPN.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and set it up. I mean, I have VPN, but I have to do extra hoops of like tricking my phone that I'm not in America and stuff, and it's gonna be annoying, but I'm gonna have to do it. The last major point that Tona put up for us was guilds. It's gonna be a 4-phase system, and I think this is the hardest part for Chris. Honestly, I do. The financial commitments that were put on these and promises, and he's got to balance this out so that it doesn't wreck the game, but that promises are upheld. So the phase 1 is the core functionality. This one reminded me of like a social platform. They're gonna make it like it'll be fun to be part of a guild because of the social perks that you get out of it. They did talk about guild bonuses, which comes into later. Phase 2 is guild rating ability. The ability for a guild to work together to take down a PvE boss for rewards that feed back into the above phase 1. How that's gonna look, I'm not really sure, but whatever you get, it'll enhance your phase 1 core functionality. And then phase 3 is the guild crafting, primary focus of internal iteration as we work with key stakeholders. I think this is all about taking care of the original promises. And then phase 4 basically says it's going to be an ongoing living thing to where it evolves over time, I believe. So, they're looking at it. They gave us something. This is more than they've given us at all about guilds, because that's probably been one of the top, if not top, question of what are they going to do. Again, thanks, Tonin, for this breakdown. You make my life easy. Thank you so much, brother. I love it. And Tonin is doing the Spanish section here very soon in our Discord. If you got anybody that's into Web3 and they like Spanish content and they can only do content in Spanish or whatever, send them our way to the Gamer Galaxie Discord, and there's a special section in there for Tonin to start putting in content here soon.
Awesome.
So that was our Guild of Guardians breakdown. Did you have anything else you want to comment on that before we move on?
Oh, you covered it, mate. It's Tonin and yours world. I just want to play it.
Yeah. So
I'm sick of talking about it.
I know you're gonna have something to talk about on this next one. I don't know a lot about Altura. We talked about on our previous podcast with them with WagMe Games. They just took on Undead Blocks. I know who Undead Blocks is. I have some very, very good friends in there. I've actually met the two guys that are actually in charge now and taking over Undead Blocks. I met them in Tennessee last year. Two really good guys. I believe what they say. I believe their intentions are well. I've said it before. I am 98% sure that somebody in that company, not them, rugged the treasury, and they are doing everything in their power to come through with what they said they were going to do, even though it wasn't their fault. And it appears that they've moved on to Altura away from Immutable, and I wish them the best of luck. I wish it could have worked out on Immutable, but it just isn't in the cards. And so I know you had some thoughts on it, and I'm gonna let you talk about what our Altura had to say.
Well, Altura's had a few digs at Immutable before, because they go after Immutable because they've got a similar system, but they have smart contracts enabled. So they use APIs and smart contracts, but they don't have their own chain. They just build on top of other chains, and they charge through their, I don't know how they do it, but they charge for a little fee on top of everything. And so they're quite expensive because of that. And but they've gone after Immutable games. Like, that's what whenever you hear an announcement from Immutable, so from Altura, 90% of the time it's a game that was on building on Immutable, or part of, like, WagMe Games they've got a part of their, and it's always been on the IMX chain, not the CKVM chain. And so they've just announcement alert, Undead Blocks has switched over and joined the Altura NFT ecosystem. Why, you ask? So straight away they're digging Immutable. Like, that's they're gonna have a dig without saying, because everyone knows that Undead Blocks is on Immutable, and they're on the IMX chain, not ZKVM, obviously, because they've been out for 2 years nearly. Switch was fueled by a quest to personalized solutions, top-notch support, a dig at Immutables. We always talk about how the support sometimes can go waning because of the success they're having. Well, Altura, when you got like no games to build for, of course you can give great support. So,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And and innovative ways to be better. And it's probably true. They've got innovative ways to better the game internal ecosystem.
Right.
But how can you improve an internal ecosystem that hasn't changed for 18 months? They've got one map and 2 or 3 guns, and that was the last time I played it. And I'm pretty sure it hasn't changed since then. For 18 months, man. The game, it's not. And so I joked and made a response, and then I didn't post it in Twitter because I don't want to, I want to try and move away from being a little bit too aggressive sometimes. Like, sound like a rabid dog, Immutable, sick 'em dog, So I just post the ones that I don't post in my Discord in the meme channel, so that people can see what I was going to post. So that's a reason to join our Discord if you're not in there. But I wrote, so in response to that tweet, which I didn't post, is, the problem was the other chain, not the fact that there hasn't been a game update for 18 months and everyone is bored of the exact same tiny map. Nice jab, though.
Yeah.
I didn't post it in the end.
You did a great job. You did a great job. You just did a clown face. I think people know.
I had to do it. I had to post the clown face. I had to tell them that they're freaking clowns, mate.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying about Undead Blocks. Again, I'm gonna defend the crew that's there now. I know they had more things coming. They had another map. They had mobile coming, and there was another owner. There was another owner that, I'm gonna call it what it is. The community got lied to. There was no mention of some other owner besides Grant. Well, that was not the case. It's a lie. Sorry, it is what it is. That's not on the two guys that are there trying to turn the ship around. They have gone through expensive lengths to force the previous owners to give them the keys to the ship. And I know that for a fact. And can they turn around? I don't know, but I'm going to root for them. And like I said, I met these guys, and I believe them when they tell me what has happened, and hopefully they can turn it around. So we won't...
They made a big mistake. They made
What's
a big
that?
mistake. If I was them, I would 100% build on Ronin, because can you imagine the
I thought they were.
Kokodi?
I thought they were.
Well, by going to Altura is a massive mistake, because Altura has no community.
Yeah.
No people playing games. And Ronin, if you haven't noticed by the tweets that their fanboys tweet, like, they're obsessed with IMX. Ronin is obsessed.
They would have been
Immutable.
like, we stole this from Immutable because they suck, you know?
Yeah, and they would have supported that game so much. They would have like, look, you guys failed on Immutable, but you're thriving on Ronin.
Yeah.
See, Ronin's the best. Ronin's the best. They would have made, like, they would have had 50,000 players a day and been able to milk those idiots for 6 months. You know what I mean? And so that's what I would have done, but that's a lost opportunity. So if you're an Immutable game and you're not getting a service because you're a shit game like Undead Blocks and you want to go somewhere else, go to Ronin. Go milk those idiots. Milk those idiots dry.
Man.
Do it. Sell NFTs for $500 each of PFP pictures and say, call them anti-immutable PFPs, mate. You'll sell out in seconds.
The Immutable
'Cause they're
Pitbull. The Immutable
Ronins-
Pitbull is off the leash.
Well, it's not. I'm not wrong, am I?
No, I get what
Am I
you're
wrong?
saying. I get what you're saying. I just...
Am I right?
I
Would
can't-
that happen?
I
would,
can't-
would the Ronin fanboys
No, you're
go
right.
and Burko for an ex-immutable game that they stole off Immutable? They would.
You're right. I'm not gonna call Undead Blocks a shit game. I understand what you're saying, but I'm not gonna call it a shit game. But I totally think you're right though about going to Ronin. They I don't know. I don't know if they've seen. I'll have to talk to KG. Maybe he'll give me some insight to why they went there. I'm pretty good friends with him. You know, he's a good stand-up guy. I'm telling you, man. I don't say that lightly in this space, but he's a good stand-up guy.
Yeah.
So. But,
well, the game is boring because there's no more content. It actually plays
they know.
pretty well.
They know.
You know, it was no loop. There's no reason to come back other than money. And you know, we've already made that established that if people play for money, it's a Ponzi.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as it's either sustainable because people are willing to put money in for the fun of it, and therefore the people put $1 in, that they don't mind the dollar going out to someone else. It's not getting rich from it. They're going to make a couple of dollars, you know, the people that are playing it for the money. But as soon as you make it that you can make a living out of it or any kind of decent money in a third world country, you become a Ponzi scheme. That's it. There's no other way around it. You cannot, people aren't willing to put a salary aside for every one player that's playing for fun, they're still not willing to put a salary aside for someone to play that game. So as soon as someone wants a salary from a game, it's 1-to-1. You need 100 players for every extractor. And as soon as someone can extract decent value from a game, those 100 people start to go over to the extractor side and it becomes unbalanced straight away and therefore a Ponzi. So It's pretty simple to see that you cannot have a game that the only form of income is from people's pockets, gamers' pockets, and it be sustainable. It's just not possible. Anyone that thinks it is at this stage is just living the pump and kagi dream.
In most cases, you're right. I do have some insight on this game. I think they got a shot. They're fighting uphill because their legs were taken out from underneath them. And I do get what you're saying, but I'm going to disagree a little bit on that they're just straight up an extraction game. Is there extractors in their game? Absolutely. And that's part of the problem that they ran into. So I'm going to move this on. We need to talk. We're up to Rubick shorts. So this is where...
How many?
What's that?
There's not many today. I've just we've covered it all already, and we've got some other things that are coming up that we're talking about it with. So ultimately, just two things that you can play Arcbound now on Epic Games, and also Bad Mad Robots you can wish list now on Epic Games. So
yes,
that's very much shorts today. That's it.
Yeah, I just put out a tweet about that. I went and signed up for that right away. I don't know why. I just really, I don't know. I got an itch for that game for some reason, and I really don't even know a lot about it. I can't explain it. It's just, I think it's just because they're robots and they're bad and they're mad. I don't know. I'm not sure. But so that was it on your shorts.
Yeah, that's all, man.
Okay. StarkEx is doing an airdrop. Yeah, this is causing some controversy. Are you aware of the controversy?
Mate, whenever people get given free money, it causes controversy somehow. Well, I don't really care, whatever.
Yeah, just the people that have been participating in the system are getting 111 tokens versus the other people that I don't know what they were doing exactly, but they're going to wind up getting more. So the people that were participating are getting a lot less than the people that weren't, and it was causing an uproar about it. I still got to see if I got any wallets that are eligible for it. I haven't done it yet, but I got to get on that here soon.
So ultimately, what people probably don't understand is StarkNet, is the long-term plan. It's kind of like Immutable ZKE VM versus IMX. You know, like StarkNet's two chains. They've got their StarkEx chain and they've got their StarkNet chain, and all their resources going into StarkNet. Their tokens on StarkNet, not StarkEx. And they've decided to reward StarkEx players for their snapshot before 2022 with everyone gets 111 no matter what you spend. Of course, it's not scaled. On the one I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on is the one that I get a flat fee, the same as everyone else. But if anyone's should be upset, it should be me. I'll get 111 tokens as someone that did 8 transactions, and I've done thousands and thousands of transactions with thousands and thousands of dollars. So it's but in the end, it's only 10% of their allocation is to StarkEx users. Mm-hmm. And 50% to StarkNet users. So I'm happy we just got something at all. They didn't have to. It's not the chain that the token's for. It's just the same company.
Right.
So and then all the other people, like, you know, all the typical degens are upset with, you know, not getting what they felt entitled to. So, you know, it's a funny world we live in, man, where people feel they're entitled to certain amounts of free money.
Oh yeah, big time in this space too. That. Big time in this space. It's an ongoing theme. Up next, we've got the.
Before you go on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say one last thing.
Yeah.
I did a post on how to get the Immutable drop. The StarkNet Stark token drop. Mm-hmm. I got 5,000 views on it, man. It was like one of my biggest posts I've had of the month. So I've had one bigger. That was the top to 100, but this one had got. Talk about tokens, get views.
Nice. Yeah. Makes sense.
Incoming.
Makes sense for sure. Yeah. So, Carly, she changed up her format. I noticed. I'm sure you noticed it too. She used to do one and cover a bunch of stuff, and now she's breaking it up into segments. She released 4 in the last 10 days, anywhere from 19 minutes down to, I think 11 was one or something like that. But regardless, it was 4 different topics within when she usually does it in one. I got through 3 of them. I can only remember 2 somewhat, one in specific. The ZK EVM one I did not get to. Robbie was going back and forth with her about Apple and Web3. Robbie did pick up a one of those Apple glasses for $3,500, and he's testing it out. It's good to see him watching the trends and seeing where the goggles and VR is going. I think it's definitely in the future for this space. It makes sense, and he was talking to her about that. And the big one for me that I liked a lot was the SimWins AI Fantasy Football. This was a good one. I like this one probably the most because I can just imagine where this stuff can go. And they were talking in a lot of what they wanted to do and what they were working on, not what is actually happening. But it really is going to be insane down the road. They're making AI players that you can give supplements to. You can put them through training regiments. you can do all kinds of real world things to them, which I would assume incurs a cost within their ecosystem to make them a better athlete. And then you put them on a playing field and you can manage them, and then they play against other people that are doing this. And just the possibilities of what this could evolve into. You don't even need real people to create virtual gambling things. And I don't know how they could do it and not have it tampered with, but they're claiming they can. And there's a lot of things that have to happen for this to come and to be workable. But like the fact that people are working on this 10 years down the road, yeah, this could definitely be something. And if it works here, it's going to work in all kinds of other things. I found this video very, very interesting. Did you get a chance to check anything out on these?
I did a while ago now, and I didn't get a chance to refresh, and I didn't write notes, so I'm gonna have to leave you with it. There were just good ones. This one I liked. There's 4 different videos from Carly, and all of them had something in them that were interesting. They forgot to announce the ZK EVM for Carly. They're a little bit late, so I think I was like, oh, we didn't even announce the ZK EVM.
Yeah,
so they missed that. So that came in late. We announced it before them, their own channel.
Right.
So. Yeah, but yeah, the publishing one was good. I've heard of that guy before, Michael. He's in charge of the publishing side of the arm of the business. So you should watch that one to see what they're doing in terms of, publishing games. So that they've got 5 games at the moment. Shardbound's one of them. Metalcore, and is that the one? I'm gone blank. Shardbound, Metalcore, and Infinite Victory.
Oh yes. How could I forget that one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So go and find out about what Immutable's doing to become a top tier publisher, which is something I've criticized comments from about people saying that blockchains will become publishers, and like Bryson's all in on that. What they're looking at it from is from a point of view of that these small games don't have the budgets for publishing and don't have they're going on a shoestring budget to get the game out, and then they're selling it on token, and they're relying on the chain like Ronin, who are good at this, at selling their games for their core audience. Where I've always said that will be choice of shit tier games, but really quality games, well-funded games will want to have a proper publisher publish their game, because why would you go with some crap tier chain that's just pumping to their 10,000 die hard get when's token go up people, you want to sell to every gamer in the world, come play your game. So that's why that highlighted Immutable's lead in that publishing space. Even though it doesn't look like it right now, because they're not going for the Web3 native as much as the gamer. But yeah, that was one of my takeaway from it. But yeah, all of them were good to watch, and the SimWin one is one of my games that I was most excited about. I'm a bit disappointed. Their marketing is horrible. Like when you see their game, they tweet out. There's no. You had to watch that. We've had them on a podcast, on a Spaces, and now on that, I still don't fully understand what you do in the game other than a bit of gambling. And I see that now that there's a couple of tiers, like special people own the teams, like famous people own the teams, and then you can get involved with their fantasy football, which is not my thing. I thought it was going to be like more about me owning a team and then training them and then playing against other people in a league, and because it's AI driven, but also video. So that was what excited me. So maybe I'm not saying it's not going to be big, but it's not my cup of tea. When I got excited, you remember I got excited about this about 8 months ago, and I said I know about a game coming that's not announced yet that's going to be huge. Yeah, that still could be huge, but not for me.
Yeah, honestly.
I'm just not into fantasy stuff as much. I'm just not into fantasy football as much as I am into, like strategy.
I say this with a giant if. If they can pull this off, I think this will be absolutely huge. But I don't know how they're going to pull this off. It just seems like a massive undertaking. But I'm excited of the fact that somebody is actually trying, because I think eventually it'll happen. It's just who's going to be the one to master it and capitalize on it is my question. So I think it's down the road.
You can play something in that game now. It's like a very small part of what they're building. So I thought Dessous said it's fully out, but I don't think it is. They've from that interview that it's not out yet. So
okay.
Yeah, it's a sleeper, and they don't advertise their product very well on X. Maybe we should have them on the podcast to get them to understand
Yeah.
I actually got a line to Mr. Ortiz. I actually can contact him directly. So
yeah, that'd be fun.
That'd
be
send
fun
him a
for
message
sure.
to say, hey mate, let's come and learn. Let's break down your game and get right into it. Explain how the daily person is what they're gonna do on a daily basis, and how is it gonna be fun. Is it more on the gambling side? Is it more on the play side? And just break it down like into real bite-sized chunks so people can break away. It's just being too vague what they're saying to me. Exactly, like speaking at high levels and not getting real specific. That interview was the best one they've had so far, though. They've broke it down a little bit more.
Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it very much. This next point, you've brought this up a lot of times, and I figured we've talked about this. So I'm wondering, you want to talk about Mazari Crypto, 70% of games building on Immutable. You've explained this eloquently on many spaces and everywhere. Are we just reiterating that point again, or is there something new with this one?
Well, it's been pumped a lot, like by people. Even Robbie said it and quoted it. He's quoting it, so he's not lying. He's just saying this is what Mazari Crypto says. But this seems like one that they've just taken the out of context 70% figure and put it into their report. Maybe Immutable is winning 70% of games because they've won a lot. If you noticed. I'm starting to think maybe they are getting 70% of games. And all the other games, they're not counting the ones that already exist. Not 70% of all games that are out in crypto, but all the new ones that are signing deals, they're winning a lot, mate. And maybe they are winning 70% now of games. Surely this Mazari Crypto is pretty professional. Wouldn't say that if off a whim of misunderstood whim. They do some research to back this up, but lots of games are choosing Immutable. 50 VC-funded games chose Immutable in the last 2 months. That's probably close to 50% or 70% of all new games signing deals with chains. Close. I follow the space and I don't see that many games signing with other chains that much.
It's amazing. I can't believe all these market share games would want to go to a broke outfit. I don't understand it. So whatever. Yeah, another dig there. Yeah, this was.
You broke up for me. I didn't hear what you said. So
I said.
I can hear again now.
Just saying, I can't believe all these market share. 70% of this market share is going to a platform that's broke. It's just really odd. I don't understand it. So.
Yeah, going break. This is what one thing like. What do these experts in their armchair think that they know more about which is the best chain than actual builders that are building games? If you're right that your chain is the king of gaming chains, why is only 14 games chose to build on you and 4,000 have chose to build on other chains? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You might have a few extra thousand players right now that got sucked in by the Axie Ponzi, but that doesn't really. And I'm going to get to this point in my final thought. I'll carry on then.
Yeah. So you brought you had some non-immutable news here. Oh yeah, this was actually big. It was all over the space of X this past week. Disney invests $1.5 billion into Fortnite. Epic Games to build a persistent game universe. This is a massive collaboration. I'm not surprised because Disney goes like where the trends are. They go from trend to trend, destroy it, and then move on to the next trend. Oh, did I say that? Yeah, I did. But they're going to Fortnite. If anything could kill Fortnite, it's Disney. So we'll see.
Yeah. They're not giving $1.5 billion away for no share in the actual product in actual Unreal Engine. Mm-hmm. They'll bring in their diversity, equity, inclusion requirements, into Unreal Engine. We'll see if they destroy that company as well as they did to my beloved Star Wars. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was. I don't want to go too much detail about it, but it's like everyone gets excited by it. I'm not excited by it at all. I
am a little bit. I mean, it just shows that this industry is not a fad, in my opinion. I think it's just another verification piece amongst many that have come out lately. Am I happy that Disney's in it? Not really, because I don't really care about them anymore, but it's a big headline. It gets the normies to say, oh, what's this? So, I'll take it. This next headline there, I think you got more grasp on it than I do. I was very welcoming, like, oh, okay, I know it's off the Avalanche system. I don't have a problem with Avalanche. Actually, I'm kind of little bit bullish on them for my own personal reasons, but Xbox welcomes Gunzilla Games Web3 IP off the grid. A lot of hoopla was made about this in the week about the Web3 getting onto a main stage Web2 platform, and I'm sure you've got some thoughts on this.
Yeah, the reports have been about Web3 being the first Web3 game, but Gunzilla's not actually claimed that, and neither has anyone stated that Gunzilla said that. They've said it's on Xbox, so therefore they're assuming, and even Eliza, who wrote the article, said, did you read the article? When I said, is it actually going to have Web3 integrated? And she said it is, but it's not from them. She's saying it is. So I hope it is, man. I hope it's on Web3, mate, on an Xbox. I love it, Avax. I love Coop. He's a legend. This is one game their number one game I want to play. It just looks so good. It looks different, and if it's on Xbox and it's Web3 integrated, that's the first step.
Yeah.
But we know we had interviewed someone recently, behind the scenes, not on the shot. It was only a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember which game it was for some reason. The memory of the game leaves me. But they talked with Xbox, and they wouldn't allow them to come on because they don't allow Web3 because of the uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a quick change around from just a couple of weeks ago for all of a sudden a game that would have had to have this in the pipeline for a year. So, I'll believe it when I see it is what I'll say. But I hope, I'm not trying to be negative, Nancy. I'm just a realist. If it's on there, awesome. And I don't care that AVAX is the first one to get it. Like everyone thinks it's, like that they've won because of this. Like it doesn't. It just opens up their doors to everyone else to be able to put their games on, potentially on Xbox and eventually PlayStation.
Thank you.
And Nintendo.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. If this was real, legit, and we confirmed, and they're going to be on it, I'd be happy for them. We're a Immutable-based podcast, but I would be happy for them because, as I've said in the past, when one gets done and it brings in 10 million to this space, they're not just going to look at that one platform. They're going to start taking a look around, and then we all win. And that's the premise of it. So hopefully it is, like you said. So
yeah, we did miss one thing as well. The bell curve in the content section.
I was wondering where that went. I looked and I was like, where'd it go? Did I miss it?
Yeah, I must have deleted it by accident. Sorry about that.
We can talk about that.
It's just a quick one, mate. I just wanted to say it was really good because Robbie promised. No, he didn't promise, but if he says it, I take it as a promise that by July, ZK EVM will have 30 games out. That was my biggest takeaway from that 1 hour interview of Bell Curve. He went into liquidity again, but I recommend finding that part and listening to the liquidity part. It's really like Heimer's home, real detail, why the liquidity fragmentation is bad for crypto and how Immutable's going to solve that. That's it.
Yeah. I thought I had the tab up and I don't, so I apologize for the viewers of this. But yes, the one thing I took was he mentioned some financials. Immutable has 230 or 260 million in cash on hand. They used to have about, I wanted to say about 500 to 600 million. So they've obviously invested a lot of that money, which, yeah, go figure. If you're going to take on capital investments, you have to invest it. You can't just let it sit there and not do anything. So I'm glad they've invested it. We're starting to see the fruits of that investment with all these
350
games.
million was their highest amount they've ever had.
It was?
In cash. They've got 500 million tokens.
Okay, I might be off. I thought it was 600 million, but whatever. Okay, so if it was 350 million,
tokens.
Thanks for the correction. They spent some to get some stuff going. We're seeing the fruits of that that expenditure, which it has to happen. And then they've got
staff as well.
Yeah, people got to eat. People got to live.
They're going to be draining a couple of tens of millions a year on salaries for sure.
Yeah,
they've got nearly 300 employees. So.
It's the cost of business. You got to put the seeds down to make things grow. So, and that's what they're doing. They have $2 billion in token valuation. That's locked up right now. I believe July, it might open up some of that. They have postponed it a few times already. Who knows? They might postpone it again. We don't know that for sure. And then he was talking about, he brought up a point, and he has brought up this point before, but he brought it up again. They asked him, who's your biggest competitor? And he said, it's the Web 2 space. It's not about the infighting in this space. when we get into the Web 2 space, there's going to be plenty to go around for everybody, and that's what we should all be focused on. And it's just he's made this point before. We've made this point. That's what it's about. And you know, that's why we clash a little bit with some of these other networks. It's just they're just in it for the money. I'm going to call it what it is. They're in it for the short-term money. They don't really care about the space. They don't really care about the big picture. And Robbie puts it perfectly. Our biggest competitor is Web 2, and we don't have time for this infighting. We're too busy building the pipes, the infrastructure that's needed to give the tools to the games so that they can build and we can get. He's called it out today. We're looking for four to six major games to really solidify what we're doing. And you know, they get the criticisms for, you know, not being fully helpful with all the games they have on the platform. Well, you know, it's a business, and if you're making noise and you're doing the right things, you're going to get some attention from them. And if you're not, they don't have the time. They just don't. They don't have the time. They're looking for that core deluge of games to take them into the Web 2 space. So it was a little bit different interview than I've heard him done before. He was a little bit more real than he normally was, and I appreciated it. It was good. If you really like hearing him talk, it's a little bit different. I would advise you to check it out. I'll put the link in the video notes if you want to check that out.
Yeah, he's that just that was really, I forgot that point. That was probably the biggest highlight of that point. Just the response to that answer. It just shows you the difference in brain, you know, like the difference in upbringing, difference in stability, the difference in, you know, just being able to deal with adversity. Like he's just why we support Immutable is probably because of Robbie. You know, like ultimately his attitude filters down through the company. We've heard that before from other guests that have told us that work for Immutable. You know, and you know, in that response to that question is like, he said it's not a zero-sum game, meaning that everyone can win. That probably it's a good product. And you know, you see these other ones, especially the one we mentioned the most, their founders are attacking Immutable on a constant basis. You know, and it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And you look and you wonder why we support Immutable over them. And I started out there, you know, so it's, you know, and it'll cost you in the long run. Short-term gains for, you know, but long-term pain is what that attitude will have. And it's gonna become, at the end of 2024, we're going to see that, and their talking points and narratives are going to die up pretty quickly.
He also went into he's on another level of down the road that a lot of us aren't even thinking about. And he's talking about futures contracts, and I don't know all the ins and outs of futures contracts, but he quoted, I think it was $150 billion. If they get this right to where they have a core of games that are into the mainstream, the 3 billion plus gamers, it has the potential to bring in $150 billion between the gaming aspect and the futures contracts and all the highly sophisticated banking tools that go into these things that a lot of us can't even comprehend, and the amount of volume and revenue that will generate. It'll be absolutely insane. And that's what they're looking at. It is about games, but he's looking down the road is if they can get this, what it will evolve into. And it just blows me away that, like, I'm happy he's talking about this stuff. Like, I don't hear any other chains talking about this. He's thinking 3 moves ahead, and you gotta love that from your CEO.
Well, that brings me into my final thought of the week. You know, like, Immutable reminds me of Tesla. Yeah, and like very closely. Like, for example, that future thinking. Tesla built out the charging station back when they were selling 5,000 cars, with a vision of building charging stations all over the world, and now they've got 50,000 charging chargers or something, 50,000 stations all over the world, or something stupid number. You know, they've built this infrastructure. It's still not big enough to support electric vehicles, but they had this vision before they'd won. They had this vision and built it, you know, but there's a lot of Wall Street analysts that, you know, give the analogy of Tesla versus they're bears against Tesla, that say, like, Toyota sells 10 times as many cars as Tesla, but is only 1/20th the market cap. So why is that? You know, like there's some people with short-term visions that can't see the big picture. They can't see what, like right now they're only selling 500,000 cars, or not even 1 million cars a year. And how can they have a bigger market cap than Toyota that has 10 million cars? But it's the infrastructure around what they're building and the foresight to see what will come and having the belief that that will come to fruition. It's exactly the same thing of Immutable versus, say, for example, our favorite chain, Ronin. They built first, like Toyota. They had the most gamers. They had the most everything. But they dropped the ball. They got comfortable. They didn't build really good tech. It's okay tech they've got. They're probably up above most chains, but not all chains. Like there's AVAX is better. There's a lot of other chains. Arbitrum's better. Immutable's better. What they built and what they're building. And so they sort of sat on their hands and didn't have the vision to build. They got comfortable with what they had, and this is what we're going to win with. But other people with better visions, like Tesla, like Immutable, saw a better future and built for that in the future. And we're not there yet to see the fruits of that yet. And that narrative that's painted all the time from the Ronomax is that Immutable has no players and all this stuff, which is, they're quoting false numbers anyway, for starters. But they don't have as much as Ronin yet. But 260 games chose Immutable for a reason, because they could see the Tesla, like I could see the Tesla in it. They could see the benefit to them to building on this chain rather than a chain that had the lead at the start. That's my end of the day. That's my end of the thought.
That's a great point. Well said. Way to segment into that. And yeah, I'm going to piggyback a little bit on yours. Mine's a little different. So I just caught up on that bell curve interview today with Robbie, and I've known a lot of this stuff, but I started thinking about it as I was picking up golf balls, walking the dog at the same time. I try to synergize my time with everything. I pick up golf balls and I resell them. I'm a golf ball hawk, if you didn't know. But anyway, I digress there. I started thinking about Gamers Galaxie and what we've done. And we're trying to cover Immutable, and we're crazy enough to even start thinking about covering Avalanche. I don't even know how we would do it with the time that we are just... We're so overwhelmed with information that we're trying to process, summarize so that it's more palatable for our audience, and we appreciate our audience. And I know our segments go long, but there's just so much information. And I'm thinking about all this stuff Robbie's talking about, and you know, the futures contracts and the 150 billion potential, and knowing his background, I'm pretty sure he's not going to be just happy with just getting games and having a little platform and being okay with it. I know his aspirations are very likely much, much bigger. And I'm thinking to myself, we're going to need more people. We're going to need more quality people. And we've accomplished so much in the last few months, and I'm very proud of it. And it's not a knock on our team at all. It's not a knock on you, Rubick. It's not a knock on me. DeSeuss, Juan Regal, our new guy, Tona with us. There's a ton to cover, and we got to keep our eyes out for quality, reliable people that see the vision that we see, because I don't think we're going to be able to keep up in a couple years here, maybe a year. We can only dedicate so much time, and we're going to do our best, and I know we're going to do a good job, but like, my thought is we got to start keeping our eyes open for quality people, and we're going to expand this thing and ride this Tesla, this mega Tesla, with the Immutable fam, and see where it goes. And that's my thought. Still there? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm having connection problems, so I'll just say thanks for having. I'm gonna have to wrap up now because I've got internet problems living in potato internet world. But yeah, it's been a great pod again. Thanks for going through this with us and listening to us, everyone. Really appreciate it, and hope you got some good nuggets out of that and enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. That was Rubick with his farewell there, and I'm going to be signing off. Please like, subscribe, comment below. It helps us out with the algo. Catch us on X. We're on RSS, audio, YouTube, all the socials that we've got. Help us out, get the word out. Discord is open. Come on in, get the elf first from Rubick. And we will be coming back here soon with one of the team members from Immutable. I think it's Taj. And yeah, we'll catch you guys when we get there, and everybody take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye bye.